here comes dad, like that narcissist, the pathological liar. He had to show up and get that spotlight. And that's what we're seeing with Rex. Rex gets arrested. Now here comes dad. Kohberger gets arrested. Here comes dad.
BTK Killer's former property searched for clues in unsolved case. Park City, Kansas. Investigators from Osage County in Oklahoma searched the former Park City, Kansas property. Did I say Kansas? Park City, Kansas property of BTK killer Dennis Rader in search of possible connections to unsolved cases. Namely, they were looking for possible connections to the 1976 disappearance of Cynthia Kinney. Rader, now 78, is currently serving 10 consecutive life sentences for a 10-victim killing spree that spanned the 1970s through the 1990s. He was arrested in 2005 and entered a guilty plea 10 months after his capture. 2 of the murders Rader admitted to committing took place in the Park City vicinity. Rader's former property is now an empty field that the city owns. The serial killer dubbed himself BTK, which stands for Bind, Torture, and Kill. Rader's daughter, Carrie Rawson, spoke to Court TV about the news of the Kinney investigations. How would you like to be this guy's daughter? I feel bad for Carrie. She's talked about this case. She's talked the BTK case. She's talked about the Bryan Kohberger case. That would suck to have one of the most notorious serial killers in history be your dad. So the latest right now is that there's a 1976 cold case with Cynthia McKinney out of Osage County, Oklahoma. Rawson told Court TV's Matt Johnson. She was a missing person. She went missing from a laundromat, and no one knows what happened to her. And so starting in around January of this year, my dad was contacting other outlets and letting them know that he was being questioned on Cynthia McKinney. Rawson went on to say Rader began contacting news outlets again last spring to tell them that he was being investigated for a possible connection to the 1990 murder of Shauna Garber in Missouri. Rawson, for the record, doesn't feel Gerber's killing fits her dad's MO. My father's a huge narcissist, she continued. He is a sexual, sadistic psychopath and a pathological liar. And he also absolutely loves the attention. But if you'll go back and look in these cases, he's actually saying he didn't do these. And for somebody like my dad, and honestly, Rex Harmon's case, I don't see either of them ever claiming anything they didn't do. Rawson, now 44, was 26 years old when their father was arrested. She has since spoken out publicly about the double life he had unbeknownst to her. She knew him as the church-going Boy Scout leader who walked her down the aisle and was astonished when she learned he'd done things like call the police to brag about his brutal killings before the law eventually caught up with him. Let's see. That's kind of the end of that story. The BTK killer is being investigated for not one, but 2 other possible murders.